live. I'm just gonna do it, and then whoever wants to join in can join in. And the theme of today will be Shoulder Day, because there's a lot of interesting concepts we want to cover when we're talking about the shoulder. And I have to admit, most people do have shoulder problems. There's a lot of dysfunction that goes there, and I have to admit, a lot of the rehab techniques, the common stuff that you see, the cliches, things, they're not very effective, and they're not really good at getting to the root of the problem. Things tend to be very locally focused, and here we're talking a bit more globally. We're here to tie in things with posture, we're here to tie in the breathing, we're here to tie in how the shoulder blade is supposed to move with the rib cage and together with everything else. So talking about arm reaching, and basically give you a bit of a few other things to work with, because the typical things is, you'll see people with a band and they do this internal external rotation, or they have just a simple weight in their hand and they'll just do this or the scarecrow thing. And yes, that does kind of warm up the shoulder joint, but it doesn't really solve problems, like I said. And that's what I'm here to do, is provide you with some information, what is going on, what to do, and or what is going on, why is it happening, and what to do. So a couple more things I want to talk about before we start with the techniques. So why do we have problems? Well, usually and usually it is a lack of mobility, but sometimes people have too much mobility, and that could for them it is definitely a strengthening issue. But more often than not, you tend to hear people say like, my shoulder's really tight, I cannot move it. Or when they're working out, it's like, when I do pushing motions, it hurts, or upward motions, or sometimes maybe even pull, but not really. It's usually more of the push that tends to hurt the shoulder blades. So, it's the mobility issue, and then yes, people are like, well, I'm always stretching it and it still feels tight, or people usually want to know about what kind of release techniques, which we can use the ball to release different areas. I'm not actually going to talk about any of that, because we're again here to attack the function. I just want you to be aware of just constantly releasing the shoulder is probably not going to give you the answers you want. First of all, the shoulder compresses usually when it doesn't have enough stability, but it also naturally will compress in the whole region when we're not breathing well. So before stability, I would like to say, actually, number one is a breathing issue. That's what we're going to definitely address. Because if you're not breathing properly, your shoulders will never have their best mobility. Things in this upper region, I have to close that window. Things in this upper region are just gonna get super compressed and tight if we're not breathing properly. And that's whether you're lifting and all that. So that is paramount. You have to address the breathing, which we're gonna go into. Then there is strength issues. Sure, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about local strength a little bit, but we're not really going to get into that. Alignment, huge. Alignment is huge, and we're talking more about the rib cage actually, because this is the main frontal part. If we look at my Dennis Rodman t-shirt right here, the rib cage is actually what we really want to address if you're having shoulder problems. Because as much as we think, well, it's this shoulder ball and socket joint connected to the shoulder blade has to move on the rib cage, and it has to move well and healthy. So that's a postural thing. We're going to be going into that, and that's why you must understand that if you're having problems, rather than going in locally, you must think, well, am I breathing properly, and how is my posture? Then we can talk about integrating healthy movement with the shoulder blade, which again, I don't really like to look locally, and that's where common rehab, physical therapy, I don't want to bash on anybody, oftentimes we'll look too much just around here. What are your four rotator cuff muscles doing? You do your internal, external, this way, this, and some up and down. And again, that's good, but how is your shoulder blade moving together with the rib cage, but together with the hips, together with the other shoulder blade? Are they reciprocating? Are they alternating? Is there this back and forth oscillating motion happening, which is what we need as human beings? So now that I've gone through that, maybe a kind of understanding of why I don't favor local therapies, strengthening or stretching as much, even though we will go into a few today. It's more about how is this shoulder blade and upper thorax system working together, and more importantly, how is it working together with our lower body? Anyway, enough rambling. Now let's get into some techniques. I have 8 or so little stretches. I might not even get through all of them because I'm trying to keep this definitely under like a 50-minute video. But these will definitely help you in terms of understanding of some of these principles what I talked about. So we're trying to decompress the shoulder. We're trying to get more air in. We're trying to reach. Last little point before we begin. Reaching is huge. As much as we want to open up the shoulder in all these different ways, a good old-fashioned functional forward reach is paramount and huge to what it means for our human movement. When we walk, we often lack arm reaches, and that really hurts our gait, our walking. It makes it harder. Sometimes a better arm swing will already kickstart your system into moving more efficiently. We're also filling up air with arm reaches, expanding. We're too compressed and too, sort of robotic in our lives. When we move and we expand, we're expanding our whole system, connective tissue, everything together. We're filling up this space as we breathe in. When we breathe in together with these nice big arm reaches, some things fall into play. Whether it's your breathing system or even just the shoulder blade, getting some healthy movement going forward. That last thing, one of the most powerful muscles attached to the shoulder blade is in fact involved with breathing. So that's how this is all linked. And now we shall work that very muscle as well as some posture, as well as some breathing, all in one. I see people have signed into my Instagram. Thank you. I'll check some questions later if you have any. So this is the number one thing, is a nice little breathing exercise. This is a nice little core exercise, and this is basically also a shoulder exercise, but I like to think of it more as a breathing core posture exercise, a posture as well. All my players know this because we do this all the time, and maybe they don't understand it. Hopefully if they've ever watched these videos, they will now understand why it's so important. In terms of, like we said, we're going to be reaching and we're going to be filling up spaces that we're not normally filling up with air. We're also doing it in a forward flex position, which ignore the fact that, well, if I'm always crunching over at the desk, don't think about that right now. What you want to think about, we're in this hands and knees position, okay? And we're going to round ourselves up, pushing our shoulder blades forward as much as possible. The other way to think about it is push yourself away from the floor as much as possible. So I'm like pushing myself and fully engaged with the floor. That will round out my shoulder blades. That will engage these muscles deep here attached to ribs. They're kind of connected to the shoulder blades. So we're going to be up rounded. Don't have your head up, just tuck your chin because we want to nicely round up our spine. Two things are happening in this position. We're getting good core involvement, especially as we're exhaling. So we're going to kind of sync that together. Exhale, crunch. Then, as you're breathing in that position, I want you to think of filling in all this air because we got so much space back there. Remember how you go to a doctor's and they put us the breath, I don't know what it is when they listen to your breath. They put it back here on your back. That is because you've got huge area back there that we're not filling up because we don't breathe. So as you breathe in this position, I'm trying to feel my upper back expand and stretch as I fill up my breath. From here, big nice exhale like we're blowing out a birthday cake or blowing up a balloon. I should feel this ab section really compressed tight. I'm not moving. Keep pushing yourself away, locking your elbows out. Just keep yourself locked up. Big breath in. I really feel my upper back kind of engage and fill up with air. Big exhale, blow out that birthday cake. Feel all that get super tight. One more, big breath in. Blow out that cape. Nothing moves, nothing moves, nothing moves. I just did 3 there because, you know, I'm gonna keep this moving, but usually 5 breaths is what you wanna go, so 5 breaths. The pace of it, I don't really care, just get rid of everything. Get rid of everything, and when that position, feel that crunch. Good. Get used to what it's like to really exhale and feel those ribs drop. That is huge to, first off, setting our posture in the right way. Quick thing to understand, more extension in our back is not gonna give you more movement at the shoulder. It's gonna do quite the opposite. Ignoring what you do at the chair all day, because actually in the chair, you're in a state of rest. The moment you get up and move, the moment you complete any task, we tend to be very extended. When we're doing push-ups, very extended. When we're doing bench press, very extended. All that extension is going to lack your movement at the shoulder joint, because we tend to be overly extended. Funnily enough, extension usually tends to go along with stress and sort of rapid breathing rates and all that. So it's just sort of a thing we want to kind of get out of. So this is why we want to be in this position to get us out of extension, but make sure we're doing it with proper breathing to pull those ribs down. That will give you a nice back stretch. Give your back a rest. It's constantly working when you're moving. Then we also got our abs on, good, and we're also getting air in, circulating our system. Meanwhile, in this forward reaching position, facilitating extra breath and allowing these shoulder stabilizers to be on. So I know that's a lot of information, but this is why that one is so important to just do, and do it a lot. And I think that one's a sort of a bit of a game changer. It's very simple. But if we wanted to go to some local activities, here, come join me on this next one. Grab a yoga block or something to give yourself a boost, just because they can give you an enhanced stretch. If you don't have one, it does not really matter. You'll be just fine on the floor. But as you can see, with a little extra boost, you're gonna get a little better stretch. So you're gonna lie flat. One hand, you're cushioning your head like this. This is already giving you a nice stretch. Your elbow is gonna be on the block, okay? That, like I said, because you're gonna give you a nice little, it's already gonna put your pec in a stretch. So basically what we're doing right now is basically we're stretching and engaging the back. Stretching and engaging the back, and then flip-flopping of engaging the front with a little bit of stretch in the back. So basically that back and forth is going to maximize the stretch overall, or just the movement more so. Because we want to make sure that we are moving the shoulder more so than just stretching the muscles and quite frankly not allowing them to really regain what they need to do. Shoulder is meant to move. So boost your elbow, or if not, just put it on the floor, and we'll go right here, hand on the head. I'll do the first one without the block so that you can see. First thing we're going to do is we're going to push our hand into the floor, engaging the front of our chest a little bit. So push down for 3, 2, 1. Keep pushing. Take a big breath of air in. Now lift off, keeping your elbow down, pivot, lift your arm up as high as you can, and hold for 3, 2, 1. Hold it, breathe in. And now back to front, the first one. Push down and breathe out. So now I'm going to put my elbow up so you can see. This will now enhance my range or increase my range. Pushing down, 3, 2, 1. Keep pushing down, breathing in. And exhale, lift off for 3, high as you can, 2, 1. Hold it up there, breathe in. One more time through the cycle, push down, breathe out. 2, 1, keep pushing down, breathe in. And lift off, breathe out for 3, 2, 1. Good, and we'll switch it. So it's probably actually was easier for you to experience that first before I explain, but now you see what we're doing there. We've done a back and forth sort of stretching, activation, reciprocation. That's super healthy for if we want to get maximal control of our shoulder joint. You cannot just stretch, 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 or release, release, release. That will give you some mobility, but if you actually engage throughout the complex, it's going to give you the best mobility. That being said, on to the next one. So remember, cushion your head. You want to be somewhat flat down. Okay? Boost your elbow up or not. It doesn't matter. It's just giving you a little extra deeper into the range. We're going to start by pushing down into the floor for 3, 2, 1. Keep pushing. Breathe in. Exhale, pivot from your elbow, lift up and breathe out. 3, 2, 1. Keep holding it, breathe in. And back to the first one. Pushing down, reciprocate, push down. 3, 2, 1. Keep pushing down, breathing in. Pivot on the elbow and engage from the back. Lift as high as you can for 3, 2, 1. Hold it, breathe in. And one more time, we're going to push down. Squeeze your elbow down into the block 2 or the floor. Push the whole thing, everything down into the floor. 1. Keep pushing as you breathe in. And last one, lift it up, pivot from the elbow for 3, 2, 1. Good. And even on that one, I feel my weakness. I feel my left one definitely doesn't move as much as my right. So, you know, that's a good way to sort of train that and get it better. Piecing it together now, staying local, but getting a little bit more movement throughout. Get something to cushion your knees, like a towel or something. I like to be on my knees for this one because it gets you a little bit out of extension. If you stand for this, you'll tend to be the spine tends to be pretty extended, but when you're sitting on your knees, this can be a little more neutral. Okay, we're gonna take our one arm and hold it out like this, and this is pretty important of just keeping this arm and posture nicely and open, and this pec is in a nicely stretched position, back of the shoulder engaged. We're gonna do an arm circle with the other arm, and we're gonna take it throughout the whole range, rotating throughout and rotating back. And then we're gonna make sure we go nice and slowly. So coming along with me, we're gonna go thumb up, get your bicep to your ear. Just reach up and then pack it back in. Now we're gonna turn our thumb in as much as you can. And now work your way down, leading with the thumb again. Keep looking forward as your thumb works back as much as possible. Check the other arm, make sure it stays open. And now we're gonna rotate that little finger in all the way until the little finger leads, palm is out, right there. We're gonna reverse and unwind. So turn your thumb out now as much as possible. And bring it all the way up and over. Get that bicep to your ear. Check this other arm, make sure it's open. Now we're going to come across the front of the body and get a nice little deltoid shoulder stretch. Turn this thumb out, hold it here, freeze. Switch it to the other one. Get your bicep to your ear. Reach up, pack it back in, turn the thumb in all the way till you cannot no more. Good. Work your thumb down and around. Check the other arm, make sure the thumb is locked out. Working that thumb down, make that big of a circle as you possibly can. Take your time with it. Big of a circle as you can. Turn that little finger in so the palm turns out. Good. Reverse and unwind. So turn the thumb out as much as possible. Opening up that chest. Now work your way up big of a circle as you can. Take your time with it, take your time with it, take your time with it. Check the other arm, make sure it's open. Get your bicep to your ear and then make sure that you come across your face. And out. Nice, nice. Good, good. What am I doing for time? 30-minute mark. Yeah, okay, so those were two sort of local area stretches. We want to do some local stuff, but like I said, it's all about how it connects. It's always all about how everything connects. That's the human body, and that's what I'm sort of, all these sessions are designed to do, is bridge those connections together, while also addressing some fundamentals, okay? So this next one, I think, yeah, we're gonna do a child's pose, because child's pose stretch is always a good one to do, but now we're gonna again engage our shoulder muscles a little bit with a little bit of movement. Child's pose is good because we're gonna stretch out our lats. Normally there are different ways you can do that, but we definitely wanna be conscious of how much lat tightness can sometimes, it helps our shoulders, but overly tight lats will definitely compress our shoulders. So we want to make sure that we get some good healthy movement. If you can't bring your arms overhead, that's a big problem, and your lats are huge, muscles, a lot of position on your spine, so it actually compresses of your spine if they get overly tight. So let's do a nice little back stretch, child's pose back stretch. I'm gonna come back here. I need to adjust this. Facebook Live. There we go. So what we're gonna do? Turn your thumbs up. So chop down, karate chop down on the floor. All right, we're gonna sit back. All right, take a big breath of air in. Just look at the floor. And then we're gonna raise one hand as we're pushing the other hand down, obviously to support ourselves. And we're gonna hold for 3 as we exhale. So pushing both down, breathing in, and making sure you sit back on your heels so that you really get that stretch. So push down, sit back, breathe in, push one down, lift the other one up, and exhale for 3, 2, 1. Push both down, breathe in, sit back a little further, lift the other one up, and go. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Push both down, breathe in. Lift the first one up and exhale. 2, 1. Push down, breathe in. Lift up, exhale. 3, 2, 1. One more each side, one more each side. Push down, sit back, breathe in. Feel those lats stretch. Lift up, exhale, 3, 2, 1, last one. Push down, breathe in. Lift the other one up. 3, 2, 1. A little tough, but a very good overall stretch and engagement of the back muscles. Okay, I've got about 3 or 4 more. Bear with me, thank you for sticking with this. Now we're gonna, again, be a little bit more posture, strength, and connective, but also this one actually brings it all together. And I've done it before, it's a great one, and I preach it to everybody. In fact, last week when I even got a question on one of them about shoulders, this is one of the most main exercises I would prescribe to everybody. And I've done it before, put down a YouTube video of it, the bear crawl. So it's just so important for people to understand why the bear crawl is so good. Number 1, taking yourself out of extension. Number 2, reaching. Number 3, we can integrate breathing. And then therefore, number 4, you've got your solid core together with all of that. And that's just really good stuff that we need. And actually, because what the bear crawl will do is patterns you for moving, patterns you for running. So it's very applicable for just about anything that you do. Anything you do, even the first exercise you did with hands and knees. Yeah, because that position actually allows us to really modify the human system and not put it under so much stress, but allow us to turn on muscles that we really, really need. Added to which, with the lower body, you got a healthy quad hamstring relationship and you got some good foot mobility. This is what we're gonna do for the bear crawl. And I've done this variation before, but this is super good, especially for your shoulder. You're gonna just do it super slow, and we're gonna go move, exhale all the way, stay, inhale all the way, then move. Exhale all the way, inhale all the way, move. So it's gotta be very slow. And notice what's happening here. We're gonna take a pace, one side's gonna crunch, exhale, that side's crunched even further. Meanwhile, that shoulder blade's getting nicely tucked in. Other arm is nicely stretched out. Then we breathe in, extending on the other side, and then we reciprocate. So healthy, healthy stuff. I'm gonna start back here. I'm gonna try and talk through it the best I can. So, hands and knees positioned in this nice block shape. You're on your toes. Just press and lift your knees off the floor and press yourself away from the floor as much as possible. Rest real quick. I wanna make sure that these shoulder blades, they're not sagging in, they're engaged out because you're locked out. That is very crucial. Okay, here we go. Take a pace, breathe out. Stay, breathe in, push yourself away, and take a pace. Breathe out all the way. Keep pushing, breathe in, fill up, and take a pace. Breathe out, feel that rib crunch. Push yourself away, breathe in, feel the opposite expand, take a pace. Push yourself away, exhale. Feel that rib crunch, breathe in, feel that expand, and take a pace. Breathe out. Push yourself away, breathe in. Good. It's so important that you're breathing. It's so important that you're feeling this crunch, expand, crunch, expand. We're trying to exaggerate what is happening on a micro scale when we're walking, when we're going for a healthy run. The problem is we just don't get enough reciprocation. We're usually stuck to one. Being stuck to one is going to really sort of compress that shoulder. So this is really good at opening it up. This is why it's a game changer. This is why it's a winner. This is why I do this exercise almost every week, and I recommend it to everybody. It's just such a winner. I think I'm going to kind of keep it moving, but hopefully you get the point of that. One more time, just sort of coming, just a rep or two here, just so that you see, make that knee to elbow contact. So I'm right here, okay? I take a pace, knee to elbow contact, and I'm only doing like a hands pace, maybe a little bit more. So right here, knee to elbow contact, exhale. If you do that, if you knee to elbow contact, exhale the way, there's no way in hell you're not feeling your abs on that side, your obliques. That will then set you up, especially if you got a nice outstretched hand. Big breath in, and make sure you breathe all the way in. That will stretch that out and fill it up there. Then just take a pace, and remember, just take your time. When I do this with guys, the biggest mistake I make is that they're just doing this. No. Every pace is a breath cycle. Feel it, engage it, reciprocate it. It's so important. Once you do that, your arms will open up, especially if you stayed engaged, locked out. Cool. 2 more, and then we'll get you going, or get everybody going on this Monday movement session. And now to work on a different concept. So that one, actually, we've worked on postural things, this front to back side, front to back view, okay? The way the arms are forward and we're crunching forward, we're really controlling this extension like I talked about. Now we're gonna control rotation, but we're still gonna reach, and we're still gonna breathe, and we're still gonna fill up our lungs, and we're still gonna compress on the other side, and we're still gonna reciprocate. We want this back and forth action. We need the back and forth a lot more than we need this sort of double at the same time. We have 2 feet, 2 hands but they don't work at the same time in the same way. They really rarely ever do. And that's why we need to get into more of a habit of this opposition. More interestingly, what we're doing now is we're disassociating, and this one's really big. This is really big for shoulder problems. If you have shoulder problems, it's huge. We're disassociating the rib cage from the pelvis and getting you to realize, oh, that's what it's like to hold this here and then move this here. Now we're going to move it back there and we're going to reciprocate and alternate. Huge missing things in human beings, which is why we get so locked up in so much pain, tension on our body. Grab your yoga block, grab a foam roller, grab a stack of towels. You can do this, knees, feet up, squeezing the blocks, but sometimes you can even go squeeze your feet together and go legs out straight. That doesn't really matter, actually. It depends on which one you can feel your sitting bones. If you can feel left and right sitting bone individually, that's good. And if you get your upper body and abs working and it's not too difficult, that's good. I think this is a little bit harder, it gets your abs a little bit more involved, but this one sort of just stabilizes this lower half, okay? Because again, feel it, you gotta feel it, okay? So we're gonna squeeze that here, make sure this is super locked in, or lock your feet in super tight. We're gonna go one hand on the rib cage, one hand reaching forward, okay? Breathe in, and I want you to pull this elbow back and stretch. This side is stretching as I'm doing this. Now I'm gonna breathe out and reach forward. Feel that little extra rotation, good. Switch it. Keep those feet locked in or those knees. I'm gonna pull this left elbow back, breathe in. And breathe out, reach. Good, let me change positions so people can see. I'll be right here. I'm right here. Pull that left back, breathe in. Breathe out, reach that right forward. Switch it. Hand on the ribs. Pull that elbow back as you breathe in. Feel that nice little extra expansion. Now breathe out, reach this arm forward, and get that nice little extra rotation of the rib cage. Switch it. One more each side. Elbow back, breathe in, and reach forward. Make sure your knees stay locked together, your feet stay locked together. Good, one more on this side. Pull it back, breathe in. Reach it forward. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the block, squeeze the block, squeeze the block, reach. And back. Very good, very good. Keeping this lower half locked together and getting some rotation of the upper body. It's huge, it's huge. By this point, hopefully, your arms are moving a whole lot better. And to finish it off, if you joined me last week, you're familiar with some of these movements, but we're gonna sort of worry more about the upper body, and then just don't really worry about what happens to the lower body, even though last week was more lower body emphasis, okay? So here we go. We're not gonna step, but we're just gonna stagger our feet and we're just gonna hold it, okay? One leg forward, right here, okay? Back foot, stay on your toe. So just shift your foot back so you can stay on your toe, but make sure you lock out. Don't just be on your toe, lock out, right there. Lock out, lock that ball of the foot out, boom. Hold it, okay? We're gonna bend our hips forward, take our arms, and raise them up. Breathing in, and then breathe out. Tucking those ribs under. Breathe in, raise up. Really stretch for that ceiling, stretch that rib cage up. Breathe out. Just reaching down. Just hands over one leg, that should be working, that's fine. And we'll go one more, breathe in, reach up. And breathe out. Foot lock. On that ball of the foot, lock out. Boom. Stabilize yourself. Breathe in. Reach in. Breathe out. Let those abs suck in. Reach down. And again, reach up. Breathe in. As far back as you can too. Really make yourself a crescent. Breathe out. Suck those abs in. Reach down. And then one more. Really open yourself up. Breathe in. Push through the ball of the foot. Breathe in. Good. Go to this view right here. Stagger your feet. Keep the feet flat. Just keep them flat. Okay. We're gonna open up this arm. Open up this side. Right there. And bring that elbow down. I'm gonna open up this side. Shift the hips to the side. Really reach up. And bring this elbow down. Make sure you bring it to your hip. Okay. Again, bow, like a bow and arrow. Imagine yourself being pulled into a bow. Reach. Bring the elbow down. Last one. Shift your hips out. Make sure your feet are flat. Reach. Down. I'll come forward view. Feet are flat. Okay. Keep the elbow to the side. Make sure you're making contact so that your shoulder blade is locked in. Now we're gonna go reach, through it out, bring it back in. Reach, shift your hips out, bring it back in. Reach, shift your hips out, bring it back in. Two more. Reach, elbow drives back in. Healthy shoulder blade, up and down movements, last one. Up with the reach, back in, integrated with lateral trunk flexion, hip shift, good stuff. Okay, last one, same thing with the feet, okay? Okay, feet flat, all right. And now we're going to stay here. I want you to look forward, okay, but I want you to reach, reach, and back here. We'll keep the hands on the chest right here, okay? So shift into the hip a little bit like you did with the last one. Reach forward, and now reach back as far as you can. Really open up that chest and spread your shoulder blades apart. Unravel yourself. We got 3 more of these. Shift your hips, reach forward, reach one back. Spread your shoulder blades apart, keep looking forward. Unravel, one more. All this spiral motion is really helpful for your whole body posture. Reach, reach, spread them apart. Back, unravel yourself, and one more. Shift, reach forward, reach back, spread them apart, and back. Okay, one more, and then we're done. We're gonna go other leg. So remember, your feet are flat, because we're stretching the whole line. We're stretching the Achilles here too. So we're gonna step, shift, reach forward, reach back, spread your shoulder blades apart. Try to look forward on this one, so that your neck is also moving. Oh, not moving my leg. So your neck is just staying stationary while this all moves, okay? Shift into your hip, reach forward, reach back. Nice. Go 3 more. I'm gonna shift. Make sure you reach forward first. Hold that shift, reach back. And make sure you spread them apart a little bit and then unravel yourself. We've got two more. Shift in. Oh man, shift out, excuse me. Rotate in, reach back. Spread them apart. Look forward. Unravel. One more. Shift, rotate, reach, back. And there we go. So one thing actually, the one thing I wasn't cueing you well enough on that one, as you're reaching on all these, take a big breath of air in. And sorry if I did not mention that. As a big concept, you just like, we want to just be always circulating that air, always circulating the air. The more we are reaching forward, we're expanding It's going to be really good for that side to open up. And usually as we're switching, the other side is going to have a chance to do that as well. So the more we do these little activities to warm ourselves up and re-engage it with extra breathing, we're just going to circulate the system better, more than with just breath. We're going to engage our core better. We're going to engage our posture better into more neutrality, and just basically just make everything function a whole lot better, because that's kind of what the whole shoulder problem is that it's not a local issue. It is a systemic issue, sometimes coming to posture, sometimes coming to breathing. Usually those are linked. Sometimes coming to strength, where yes, it can be around the area, but it usually translates to other places. And then how well do those move together is another thing, integration. So that's what we've kind of covered here today. And make sure, again, once you're integrating, make sure you're breathing, because the last point I want to make is breathing is so important to core. You can't exhale properly without core. You just won't. You can, and that's what the bear crawl exercise is really good, is that you exhale all the way, or even the very first exercise. You can do a lot of things without engaging your core properly. Believe it or not, we can do extreme things. We can lift heavy weights without engaging our core properly. We can jump really high without doing a lot of things. But the one thing you cannot do without engaging your core properly is actually a proper breath. Just you're not doing it properly. So this is why we want to make sure that we're circulating air and breathing all the way out, engage the core, reaching, breathing all the way in, and now we're filling up all this upper area. Do that, and then your shoulder problems will be way, way different, and it will feel way different. Now we can talk about what we need to stretch and strengthen around the different places. Hopefully you enjoyed that. A lot of talking, but it's important to understand these concepts, because this is a bit of a lost cause if you just keep on stretching here, releasing, and just doing these banded things. It's just gonna send you around a black hole. Unless you address the rib cage, your shoulder won't get better. Unless you address breathing, your shoulder won't get better. And unless you address this sort of postural symmetry or integration, your shoulder will not have its chance to feel its best. So stop releasing, stop stretching, stop doing with all those bands all the time. Start working this body as a system. Start breathing properly, start integrating properly. And remember, the human body is meant to function in a walking fashion, in a crawling fashion, a gait fashion, this reciprocating fashion, not so much of a double-handed push, double-footed push. We want to do more of this opposition. So the more you can tune the body up for that, the better it will feel. Hope you enjoyed this. See you guys next week. Shoot me any comments. I'm about to check the questions right now. And if you want to know about a topic, definitely leave me a comment for that. Thanks very much, and bye for now.